I was worried you laid down to take a nap.
I'm just slow.
Doing all right?
Yeah.
As all right as you can do anyway?
Yeah.
Right, I would go in and change that. I just want to make sure
Sorry.
you don't give her money. Or, no. The file. Oh, this is.
All right, it is 6 p.m. If we could all stand and face the flag, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We did start at 6:01 p.m. And has everybody had an opportunity to look at the agenda? If you don't have any additions, corrections, or otherwise, I would need a motion to accept that agenda and move on.
I'll make a
Go ahead.
motion to approve the agenda as it stands.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the agenda. Are there any discussion items? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, approves. It's approved. How about the minutes of November 7th and 21st meetings? Does anybody have any concerns or corrections? If not, I would need a motion for those two items.
I'll make a motion to approve minutes of November 7th and November 21st, 2022 meetings.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes of November 7th and November 21st, 2022 meetings. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We'll move on to public input.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I just wanted you, for the council to be aware that in this week's paper will be an article based upon the action taken by the county commissioners of stopping any further negotiations regarding the fairgrounds. It quotes the commissioner, is a quote from Darva Reppy, and just informing the public that pretty much is stopped.
Commissioner Joffer.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. As far as public input, I also have a little something. I got a pleasant surprise over the weekend. I got a letter in the mail. It wasn't addressed to me, but it had my address, 509 Park Avenue. It was actually addressed to the food pantry. And so I didn't open it. I brought it down here to the city finance office and we opened it with the three of us present, the finance officer, deputy finance officer, and I. Excuse me. And I was very pleased to see not a huge, but a very nice donation, sizable donation from a local group for the food pantry. And so I delivered that to Mary down the street here. And I don't necessarily want to mention the name of the group. It's a local group at a church, and I don't know if they want to be recognized, but they know who they are, and I believe that the food pantry thanks them. So, yeah, it was very nice. I was really tickled to get that. So, is there any other public input?
Yes, I have public input. This refers to the action taken on declaring the property at Ofsted as, oh gosh, I just lost the word, no longer needed.
Surplus?
Surplus, thank you. And the tag on it was because it was no longer being used as zoned or that. 505 Ofsted is a residential area, and it's my understanding from the chats amongst the council members that that property was going to be turned over to have a house put on it. So semantically speaking, that is going to be used as residential, and I'm not sure that it was appropriate to declare surplus with the tag no longer being used as intended. So, and since Sam's not here, like I said, semantics can come back and bite you in the butt. So you want to be careful on that. And the other thing I saw, and I'm not totally sure, I'm looking at a map, and the cemetery, maybe it's not, maybe it's the ball field, that's being termed as residential. In either place, there's no living people in those things. So you might want to take a look at that and find a different category for that piece of property, because it's got agriculture, residential, central business, highway, commercial, and industrial. The cemetery obviously is not residential unless we're going to allow to have garages where folks can live with their loved ones out at the cemetery. And the ball field, it's only occupied 1 or 2 months a year. So just a notice. So thank you very much.
Is there any other public input?
I would like to respond to Ms. Larson, even though it's zone residential, part of the classifications of things that can be allowed as the use of the property under residential and school use would qualify. So,
Sorry, would you repeat that? You kind of mumbled toward the last.
when you have a property zoned as residential, there are certain uses that are allowed, and school is allowed under that.
Hence the ball field.
Hence the bottom.
Is there any other public input? If not, I don't know whether we really have legal updates as much as, obviously, we won't go into executive session for legal counsel unless we're going to do it by phone.
Nope, we don't need to.
We do have information here in the form of pictures concerning, and I can't remember the exact address of that.
307 Iowa.
307 Iowa.
22.
You've got kind of a before and an after group of pictures there. And they're not exact match picture for picture, but I mean, they're pretty close.
So this property has been on Sam's radar since November of 2020. It's when we first started talking about it. And there's 2 sets of photos that the aldermen are looking at. And one is the pictures that were taken in October of 2020, and then Sam and Jeff Billingsness did inspection in just 2 weeks ago. And so he has his pictures from then. And the reason for looking at the photos is to show that outside of a roof and a porch that is got some structural issues, no significant work has been done on the house. And so after meeting with Jeff today, we have a plan, and we're going to have Sam, if it meets with your blessing, have Sam send a letter to the property owner stating very specific things that need to be accomplished and a time frame that these things need to be accomplished. And also an agreement that monthly inspections will be performed, so that the end of 2023 does not come around and no work has been significantly done. So, according to Mr. Fillingsness, if this property was rental property, he would deem it uninhabitable, just due to the inside. So, that is the plan for this property, unless the council has any objection.
Does the guy have any money to redo this house? It kind of looks like a renovation was planned and then they just ran out of anything.
I think time and money are probably the issue, but it's the same issue with everybody. I mean,
So I realize he's in the nuisance property, and this all started before I came on board, but so when he originally was cited, was it just the exterior?
At that time, it was just the exterior.
And then when did the interior
When,
I mean, because I don't see how a person,
when no work was done repeatedly, that's when Mr. Fillingsness obtained an inspection. And then once the inspection, then he was allowed to see the inside of the house.
and once the exterior was inspected close enough that they could see those ingress areas, I mean,
Yeah,
huge
that's
holes
like-
in the foundation and,
right,
you know, large holes, like large rodents, raccoons size rodents,
well,
skunks.
anything could get in those things.
Yeah, of course, but you see what I'm saying? I mean, we're not just talking mice here.
Yeah, no,
So, once that happened, then it was deemed necessary to go in and do an internal inspection. That's what was allowed.
I guess my opinion, I can see where we're coming from, you know, interior, exterior, but I mean, interior, I guess, it's nobody's business what it looks like to a degree. If he wants to live that way, it's his choice. I guess I think we need to keep our nose out of some people's interior houses, you know, to a degree, because I mean, just so the outside looks nice, I mean, we got buildings in town, I can start naming off 3 or 4 that have chunks of concrete right out of the foundation. So I mean, I get it, the outside does look really tough. And as long as he would fix the outside up, the curb appeal looks great, I'm with it, you know, I agree with it. If he wants to live like a rat, or however he wants to live, hey, there's a lot of houses that way. So I mean, I don't know how hard we should push this, because we gotta push everybody else. You know, that's just my opinion. So I mean, I think if he gets the exterior done, I'm good with that. That's
Okay, for him to sell that, he couldn't sell the house for anything probably, I mean, substantial.
Just the
If
dirt.
he just only fixed the outside.
Probably.
All he could sell it for basically is the land.
Yeah.
And then that would be up to the new person what they wanted to do. But I completely see that is ridiculous, and he obviously is not married.
Well, we can stipulate when we talk with Sam, we can say, we're interested in making it so that other property owners in the area are not adversely affected by the aesthetic appeal of the property.
correct.
That's what I
Other than
feel,
that, like you said, a person lives how they live. I
That's
mean,
right.
if you've got pizza boxes all over the place, have at it, you know?
yeah. As long as you
The
keep
thing
them
is-
inside.
The thing that you have to remember though is, you know, we've been working with this gentleman for quite a few years, even prior to 2020. And the gentleman has not made any progress on the house. And so by him not doing that is what even triggered the fact that we were even inside the door. So once you're inside the door, then you find that it's not safe. It's not safe for this person to be in that house. It is not to code. So, what he chooses to do is his choice, true. You have a copy of the proposed items that are being recommended that be done on the home within a year's time.
But, I mean, in all honesty, I mean, I could see $70,000 here pretty easy.
It doesn't have to be, I mean, put some sheetrock up, that's about $100 and
But, you know,
have
we
all
still
his
gotta
walls covered.
fix the windows, side the house, you know, fix the interior, fix the foundation. I mean, unless he can do everything himself.
And if he opens up plumbing and electrical permits, then
Well,
he's
there's
gotta do
30,000.
at least, because everything in the house would have to be updated then.
The panel is good,
Yeah.
so that's a positive.
So the 11,000, 15, I would say, from the panel on.
But, I mean, I understand your concern about being lenient, but it's
I'm not-
just
I'm-
gone on too long.
And I get it. It is an eyesore. But there's a lot of other houses that are eyesores too. So I mean, if we're gonna railroad this guy, we need to start on some other houses. That's my opinion.
I think the
So-
best way to put it would be only do what's legal.
From the outside, that's just my opinion.
Well, you can't say do what's legal because everything on that list that I gave you is what's legal. Because that comes from Jeff now. And that includes inside. But I don't know what this gentleman will end up doing. I honestly don't. But if he does nothing, like he has shown in the past, the house would be deemed uninhabitable.
And I get that, I agree. But I still think that we need to focus on the exterior, and I agree, because he took so long doing it. Monthly inspections of the exterior should be done. I agree, I think that does need to be done, because he has shown that he can't do it in a timely manner.
Correct.
I mean, because this is all of it, I mean, when I first moved here and I walked my dogs, I walked by there and I went, oh wow, an abandoned home in town. And then the next day I was walking by and I heard the air conditioner and I went, oh my gosh. And how does this person get in this house? Because there were no steps, the doors were like this high off the ground. So I get it, because I've been here almost 5 years, and this is the first step I've seen done. So I do think that he does need to have inspections so he knows that we're serious. Because I think he is kind of yanking our chain a little.
Now Sam is working with Habitat for Humanity for any internal items, inside items, to see if there's some assistance there. But I don't know.
I think a good bucket of paint would go a long way on that thing.
I agree. I mean, fix the boards that are rotten or even put some siding on. The east side has none.
Obviously, we're not gonna go into executive session, but number 6 has got to be dealt with. What do you want to do? What do we tell Sam? Go for it, write the letter, except just focus on the outside? Is that what you wanna say?
So what's the, like if nothing is done, what's the ramifications?
The house will be deemed uninhabitable.
It'll be condemned eventually,
And then it gets taken out,
yeah.
it gets auctioned or whatever? I would say if we can focus on starting on the exterior,
Okay.
but now it's kind of a crappy time of year for that, I suppose, but
Well, he has
I
all
don't
of
think he's
23,
working on anything, yeah.
so,
I do think we need monthly inspections though.
okay.
I mean, he has to know we're done. We're serious.
Okay. Got it,
Focus on the exterior. Okay,
got it.
thank you. We'll move on to item number 7, and we have the chief of police here.
Hello.
Hello.
Monthly stat update. I gave you kind of a brief one here this month. We had a couple significant calls, but we have a couple of significant investigations that we're doing, so we'll just leave it at that. Unfortunately, our little Christmas thing had some bad weather.
Yeah.
We were able to arrest the Grinch though that night.
I did watch
I
that.
did save Christmas. It's always nice to do a little bit of community policing while you have some, big investigations going on. It's kind of a little bit of everything this month.
Do you see much in the way of, obviously now recreational marijuana has been defeated. So obviously that's still something that you cite. But do you see many people that actually have a legitimate card, medical card?
Starting to see them.
Starting?
I know the state was very, very, very slow on kind of setting guidelines and
Well, they've
getting stuff up and going. So,
I think they're erring on the side of caution. And that's probably wise, but
yep.
Austin, when we talk about illegal parking, is that against traffic or what are we doing?
Normally the ones that were, it's either that parking against, otherwise we've had a lot of issues with semis parking in front of the fire department. So when we see it, we try to address it. So,
on first.
yep.
Yeah.
'Cause we have had where semis blocking, the entire thing when there is a fire call. So when we see it, we try to address it as soon as possible.
What can we do on the traffic that's parked against, or the cars that are parked against traffic, like overnight?
Normally it's just a citation when we see it, so.
We only get a citation?
The first time it's a citation, then a ticket, or?
It's just a general ticket that you put on the windshield, so.
A citation is a ticket.
But they have to pay money though.
Fine.
Because if they're gonna continually break the law, to me, if you're parking on the wrong side of the street against traffic, you're breaking the law. I don't like the fact that a lot of people think that I've been doing this my whole life, I've lived here and I've done this my whole life, and now I'm getting a ticket. How dare they? It's like, come on, you're breaking the law.
A lot of people drive through stop signs all their lives too. When they get seen doing it, guess what they get?
Well, they do it right in front of the cop who's sitting there.
Yeah. So what do you do with an animal? It says animal plates. Is the owner of the animal then cited?
Where are you seeing that one?
It's page 3 of 3, middle of the 26C.
It generally depends. If it's a dog bite type of thing, it's gonna be deemed a vicious animal. If they don't have the rabies record, it could be as much as sending that animal off to a lab to make sure it doesn't have rabies. If it's a cat, it's kind of hard to find cats sometimes, but it's basically scenario to scenario. I didn't deal with that one, so I don't know the specifics.
Couple of lost animals too, I see.
So, I have a question now, and I know this because I'm not real sure about how this works. When it snows, I know that if it's gonna snow, I cannot park on the street. And I do, but I don't park on the street anyway, but, so if several people are parking on the street, do they get a ticket, or do they just get asked, or does nothing happen and then we plow around them? Because that's an
Normally-
inconvenience.
Normally, it's a first snow leeway.
Mhm.
You know, Lonnie puts out their snow alert, I think it's mostly on Facebook and the Kellerman
And KSFY.
and KSFY. So if it's gonna snow, make sure to check it, because your first snow leeway is kind of up now. It can go to as much as towing the vehicle, I believe in ordinance, it does say that. But second time when we go around, it's a citation, so.
He did say something extremely important though, snow alert.
Mhm.
If there's not a snow alert, nothing can be done.
Right.
I mean, because there's no teeth. The only teeth is if there's a snow alert.
I was just, yeah, because I wasn't sure how that, so it, like, even though it snows, say it surprises us. It usually surprises us and misses us. But, so if they don't do the snow alert and we get 5 inches,
Then nothing.
they don't, because I'm telling you, this last week I was driving and I saw a lot of those swerves.
Yep. And there was a snow alert, so that is the leeway, so.
That was there when Chuck.
That's the wake up, it's winter time now, so.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
The one thing that jumps out to me on the first page at least is the bottom two, child abuse and sex crimes. Like, those seem more important, pretty important things that you guys are catching. Like, how are you coming across that kind of stuff? I mean, I know you can't say.
Yeah, can't really talk about it, but I mean, stuff comes up, and if it comes up, we handle it. So I think our numbers are a little bit down comparatively, you know, for prior months, but it's because we have those bigger things that are going on. So just because we don't have numbers, I've said it over and over and over, doesn't mean we're not, you know, sitting there trying to
No.
figure stuff out.
I think you're doing an excellent job. And Grayson is too.
Wow. Forgery, hit and run. I mean,
I know it's crazy.
this is not just, you know, running a stop sign. This is people doing things that they shouldn't be doing. I mean, you shouldn't run a stop sign either, but still.
I know, like, I can't, it's like hit and run. What's a misdemeanor eluding?
It's where you do not stop for law enforcement, but you do not put others in harm's way. per
Okay,
se.
so like they don't take off at 100 miles an hour?
Yep. So you're trying to get away, but you're not, you know, putting it up to putting the public in danger, so. Which it's a very fine line.
So is by definition 21 to 25 miles an hour over the speed limit? Would that be more than a misdemeanor then?
That could be just a general misdemeanor arrest as well if they're going that fast, so it's kind of discretionary at that point. So you could definitely articulate reckless driving when you're going that fast.
Yeah, I was
So,
wondering about that. Well, I'm glad you guys are doing what you're doing. too bad you have to be doing what you're doing. Anybody else have any other questions about the stats? If not, we're gonna move on to, is it Colton Laubach?
Yes, sir.
Laubach.
Lawback, Lawbach.
Laubach, okay.
Schuler, Schuler. Schuler.
Yeah, whatever. Schooler.
As long as it's spelled right.
Yeah.
Mr. Lawbeck, he is working full-time for Beersford PD. He is I believe he just started the academy today. He is working, well, he's going to the Sioux Falls Academy, so he is home every night. He has expressed interest in helping us every other weekend, possibly more than that. He's a local kid. He lives, I think, just outside of our on-call policy, but it's, he's a good part-timer. He's a good worker over in Beersford. And I know that, you know, it's after years and years and years of searching to try to find that good part-timer who we can trust on having come, and I don't have to look over him every second of every day. It's kind of a relief to see that he does want to help.
Give you guys a weekend off once in a while?
Especially during holidays.
What happened to our part-time out of Sioux Falls?
He is working up on his year, so tried to get him convinced to go to the academy. He said that he is getting paid too much at Minnehaha County Jail to think of anything different. So he is just kind of straining along. His year is almost up, so.
So we're just without a part-timer.
Chances are he's gonna go away. Yeah.
Yep.
What was he getting paid? Obviously, neither of them are certified yet.
Yep.
I think Avery was $16.75.
Yep.
And if you look at the 2023 wage, uncertified is $17.75.
So that would be what would be written in here if we're gonna go that route. For your information, $17.75. How concerned are the three of you regarding him being just outside the on-call area?
I'm not.
Define just outside, I mean, a mile or two, or?
I think he's at 18 miles and our policy's at 15. So generally, I'm not gonna have him taking on-call type of situation. You know, if he needs to, we might say, hey, stay at my house or something like that. We're out of town for the weekend.
Oh,
You know,
right.
maybe he'd be willing to do that, but generally this is gonna be, you know, every other weekend. He's at the academy. After he's done with the academy, he'd still like to help out, so that's what I think a great thing is. We're not gonna lose him after so long.
Yeah, that's true.
So he's gonna come work 10, 12-hour shifts on a weekend, have, you know, be able to make some money. I think he has another child on the way, so he's searching for a little bit of extra cash.
There's an incentive there, yeah.
But also, I think, like I said, he's somebody who I'm not gonna have to worry, you know, have to look over and train and, you know, I'm gonna have to train him the way we do it here, but after that, it's key and go, so, which is very relieving.
Avery was out of, I mean, he was in Sioux Falls, I mean, that was way out of,
Yeah.
out of
He-
distance.
Yep, Avery, he just came down and worked his shift. I think he's a very early morning person. I think he's like
Yeah.
a 3, 4 a.m. type of
4
person.
a.m., yeah.
So, which is nice, just it changes stuff up, you know, you never know when stuff's gonna happen around town, so.
Kind of person.
Well, I guess I'm good with it.
Well, what do you think then? Do we wanna make a motion to? approve that?
Austin, you you've talked to him, and I trust your opinion on it. So you're yay,
I'm a
yay, okay.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve hiring Colton Lawback as a part-time police officer at $17.75, effective immediately.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded, excuse me, to approve hiring Colton Laubach as a part-time police officer at $17.75 an hour, effective immediately. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a need to move into executive session?
Do you need it?
I don't.
Time's up. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 8, we've got some fund transfers that we're going to be dealing with. Obviously, we're coming up on the end of 2022.
Okay, so in your packet, there is one that says cemetery expenses reimbursed to GF. It's just a single sheet. So, the cemetery has their own checking account, and during the year, when we have expenses, we just pay for them all out of our main checking account, and at the end of the year, then we do a one lump sum transfer to reimburse general fund. That handout provides the breakdown of what the expenses are, and so the motion would be to approve transferring $13,325.88 from cemetery to general fund.
Would you repeat that number again, please?
$13,325.88.
Thank you.
All right, any questions on that? Document lays it out. Pretty straightforward. We would need a motion to approve that transfer.
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer from Pleasant Hill Cemetery main account to general fund account for annual expenses of $13,325.88.
I will second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the transfer from the Pleasant Hill Cemetery main account to the general fund for annual expenses of $13,325.88. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
So the other set of transfers, motions that need to be done is, and that's in the stapled packet that you have. At the end of the year, we have to supplement our budget if in certain areas, if we've overspent or didn't project things that came up throughout the year. And so this will be an ordinance, which you will be approving in item number 9. This will be published in the paper upon the second reading of this ordinance. But there are some fund transfers that need to occur as well. And so you will see about 3/4 of the way down, there's something called transfers and transfer from. And so the motion will entail transferring $75,000 from water, $75,000 from sewer, $25,000 from Second Penny, and $25,000 from solid waste to the golf course fund.
Totaling $200,000.
Correct. Now, the attachments to behind that are the supporting documents of how I arrived at those numbers. And also so that you can see what the fund balances are. So. And if you have any other questions, you can certainly ask.
So I think when we're dealing with 8B, motion to approve year-end transfers, fund transfers, you could say per the cover sheet of ordinance 2022-08, even though the very next item we're going to be dealing with is the first reading of that ordinance, but the paper is still the same paper, so.
How I have to determine this is, I input all the revenue and expense items through November 30th. And then I have to project what I think my December expenses will be, and then look for those areas where we stated what we thought the budget amount was going to be, and then if there is significantly over in a certain area, then we have to supplement that. And so it's my best guess what December will come in as, and then just making it so the account is positive at year end.
Didn't you just say that we just got word back from the accountants regarding the,
That's the 2021 audit.
yeah, the audit for 2021, and there were no findings,
Yay.
which is outstanding news, which basically means this was done correctly last year. And so I guess that's the whole point. It's not 100% scientific, but you can get pretty close to an accurate estimate on what December is going to bring. So
I would ask a question. May I get a copy of that report after the meeting?
You can get a copy of the appropriations,
Okay.
which is back.
I didn't see it back there, that's why. Thank you.
I think last year we had to move money.
61,000.
61,000, so I was thinking.
A lot of that had to do with some construction costs, professional fees, that kind of stuff, so.
So we take money from these other accounts, what do we do going into 2023? I mean, are we gonna be short on those?
No. One of the pages, I believe, in your packet is monthly balance sheet by all classes. So just as an example, the water fund is 245,000 in there as of the end of October. The sewer fund is 143,000. Solid waste is 81,000. I was looking at the annual, or the audit, and for second penny is, at the end of 21 is 44,000. We've added to that this year. So,
These are all enterprise funds,
correct.
so they're growing. I mean, I shouldn't say growing. They're constantly being added to. So it's not like we're taking something out of a bucket that's just a finite amount of money. So,
But from those enterprise funds, those have to be spent specifically back to the original fund, though, correct? If the money that you bring in on water income and sewer income, that as my understanding, that has to go back toward sewer costs or water costs.
The auditors have not said that to me.
Oh,
when you transfer it to the general fund, it's the general fund item.
no, but I'm talking about legal, and probably
The mayor
should.
is exactly correct. It's, you could transfer money to the general fund and then transfer that money from the general fund to another enterprise fund. So, the auditors have never said that it's not allowed, because we have done it. We did it when Mike was here. We did transfers. So, it's not new.
So a lot of the time they're putting money in the general fund, which is kind of like an operating note per se.
Exactly.
And a lot of the money goes in and out of that particular fund, correct, to a degree?
We do have to separate it all. As far as the bank is concerned, I have one account, and everything just gets dumped into that. As far as our books are concerned, I keep a tally. Is it water? Is it sewer? Is it solid waste? Is it golf? Is it general fund? So,
The general fund would be considered probably the main
Account.
bucket.
Yeah.
the general fund though is usually the fund that is the lowest because it doesn't generate revenue. The only revenue that general fund gets is from taxes and fees. So, where enterprise funds, we do charge for service.
Do we think the golf course community center will smooth out a little bit next year?
I do.
'Cause that looks like a big
I think
chunk.
having the two managers that you've got on staff right now are really doing a great job. I ran the report for just November, and it was like $1,100 loss, you know, but this year, we've had so many startup costs. We didn't know how to budget for the year. I did sit down with Clint before we even opened and said, okay, what do you think our Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday sales might be, and then our Friday, Saturday sales, and we blew those out of the water. But also with the increased sales, then we had the increased food costs, and, you know, we didn't know when we did our budget what it was going to be. I think the staff you've got up there now has a really good handle. I think they're doing a really good job. They're marketing a lot more than we've ever done, which is great.
Yeah, I saw some stuff in the paper.
So, yeah, this first year was really a shot in the dark. I think we've learned a lot. I think they're doing a much better job.
What are we gonna do about a cook? I guess
Um,
Connor, quite I understand.
Yep, he put in his 2 weeks' notice. Sam is gone. Michael has stepped up. He's doing a fantastic job. We've had applicants that have come in with, and one has been a high school student, but yet old enough to work in the kitchen side. And then we also had an adult that would like to step up and be a cook, so.
That currently works there or not? The adult?
She submitted an application, she doesn't work there right now,
Okay.
but she just submitted it last week, I believe, so.
So that's encouraging.
And then Landon is very good, he fills in when, you know, we're shorthanded, and they had a phenomenal weekend. Friday night, the dining room was full. Saturday night, the event side was full, and the dining room was full. So they're doing a good job.
Well, I will motion to approve the year-end transfers.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve year-end fund transfers. Is there any discussion? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Well, going hand in hand, you can see the supplemental appropriations ordinance, and that's what is written at the top of the multi-page staple document you're holding in your hand. Ordinance number 2022-08. And basically all we are doing is having the first reading of same. So, if you've had an opportunity to read through it, that would need a motion, second, and vote.
I'll make a motion to approve first reading of supplemental appropriations ordinance 2022-08.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. Excuse me, to approve the first reading of supplemental appropriations ordinance 2022-08. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 10, finance office updates.
First of all, some good news. We got a letter today, or an email today, and you'll probably be getting a letter. The CDBG office granted us $770,000 for our wastewater plant project. So we got a grant.
Nice.
So, yeah, so I will send that email out so you've got it. I'm also gonna hand out to you, at our next meeting, we're gonna be talking about the proposed salaries for 2023. So I'll give you a copy of that before you go, so that you can be thinking about what your recommendation is going to be on those. And then, Lucas, is there a time that you are available, if I can get something lined up for tomorrow for the appraisal on that one?
Sometime in the morning, mid-morning, earlier the better.
Okay.
Afternoon, I'll be busy.
Okay,
So I know Dave and I think Katie.
yes, and Katie is off work tomorrow, so I'll see if I can get a hold of Dave and set
Just
something
give me a shout.
up. Okay, will do.
Have we heard any more? The other day, Dale caught me outside and he talked to me about a water treatment test that was done at our wastewater treatment plant. And I don't really know exactly what this means. I don't know what the technical portion of it means, but on part of it, we passed, but on part of it, we did not pass. And it's that part that we didn't pass that could end up costing us some extra money in the form of extra testing that needs to be done. Now, this is toxicity testing. So it's like I'll just use an example. If Dan Hayter at 509 Park Avenue is running a metal plating shop in his basement,
I can actually tell you the real scenario if you would like.
oh, that's excellent. So we do know what the
Yes.
culprit is. Okay.
Well, we don't know what the
Not-
culprit is, but we know why we did not pass
The
the second
chemical,
half.
do we know what the chemical is?
Mm-mm. But it's also something that's not uncommon.
Oh, well, that's good news. Okay.
So with the toxicity test, it's the testing of our water that leaves the sewer plant and making sure we don't kill the minnow or this particular organism. And what's happening is our organisms are supposed to live 24 hours, and these particular organisms are not living 24 hours. Dale talked to the lab and asked those questions. Do we know what it is? Do we know why? And they said, no, we don't know the answers to that question. It is a common thing that happens, but there is not a cure for it. So he's testing again this week. And this is what happened to us last year. We tested 1 week, we failed. He waited a month or so, tested again, and then we passed. So I don't know. Is it the environment? Is it the temperature? Is it a particular something that is being pushed down the line that we don't know?
See,
Even the lab doesn't know.
the day this happened, I saw a bar salt truck in town, and I thought immediately, do you suppose, I mean, I'm not pointing my fingers at them, but do you suppose there was a leak or something? And something got into the sewer, not storm sewer, the sanitary sewer. Anything could happen, but for it to happen approximately at the same time every year, it seems like it's an environmental thing. Whether it is something that, when the frost starts setting in, something heaves. Water's the only thing that expands when it gets hot and when it gets cold. So when it freezes, it expands. And I don't know what it is. But the fact that we've survived this in the past, it's just something you need to be aware of. It'd be nice if this new multi-million-dollar treatment plant would eliminate that, and who knows, maybe it will.
Yeah, maybe treating it, not chemical, but treating it with UV.
Ultraviolet light
will make
could
a
kill it all.
difference. I don't know. And the lab doesn't know either, so they just said it's not uncommon. Not that that's comforting.
Poor minnow.
I think with homeowners maybe dumping things down their drain for cleaning out the traps or root killer,
Yeah. Even just hand sanitizer. I mean, what do you do with a bottle of hand sanitizer that you say, I know I've smelled some that has gone bad. Well, we just pour it out and let it evaporate on like a bunch of paper towels. But if you dump that down the drain, that's alcohol. It's 70+% alcohol a lot of times, so. I don't know. Anyway, just something to be aware of. So that's all the updates you have right now.
That is correct.
We would need a motion to approve the warrants, if you approve the warrants.
I'll make a motion to approve the warrants.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Excuse me, to approve the warrants. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Gotta set a January 1st council meeting.
Yes. So we will not, we'll have a holiday,
Second.
that is correct.
You all right?
I think the hangover will be cured by then. Park and land. No.
So we'll be back to work on the 3rd.
So I guess the question is, do we do it Tuesday the 3rd, or do you want to move it to Monday the 9th?
I see Tuesday the 3rd. Because Monday the 9th will be on the city payday. As we talked about earlier.
I think the 9th would work better for me, but if we have to, we could
On the-
probably
okay.
make the 3rd work.
So,
I
let's
mean, I would
just,
rather do it the 2nd than the 3rd, but otherwise, we can go to the 9th.
if we did do it the 9th, do you want to then move the other meeting into the 23rd, which still gives us 2 weeks before the February meeting?
That'd be fine.
You also could move it to the 5th, Thursday the 5th. I mean, there's no, you could still keep it that first week in January if you wanted.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. It doesn't have to be Tuesday the 3rd. Can anybody see the future far enough ahead to say the 9th of
I'm good with the 9th,
January?
for
is-
sure.
I'm good with the 9th.
Yep, let's do the 9th.
Okay,
Motion to set January 9, 2023 at 6 PM as the first city council meeting in January 2023.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. To set January 9th, 2023 at 6 PM as the first city council meeting in January of 2023. Is there any discussion?
does that mean then that you would like to move the 16th meeting to the 23rd?
That would probably make sense.
Okay,
I have a medical procedure that day,
okay,
so I can't do that one.
okay. Well, I will put a line item on the next meeting's agenda for that second meeting in January, and you guys can check your schedule and let me know if works
And
good.
we can see where Darla's at too.
Correct.
Because I can do the 30th, because that would still give us, but then that would put us at,
2 back to back, which is
Yeah.
not a big deal. It's not an issue. But anyhow.
okay, so the 9th.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to set January 9th, 2023 at 6 PM as the first city council meeting in January of 2023. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
All right, the monthly spot checks. Normally we would have had a lot of them done by now, but it's been a catch-up year. So, and for Kyle, he's never experienced these, the rest of you guys have. Basically, every month is available with the exception of November and December. November should be available hopefully within 2 weeks or so. But basically, it's just to come, set some time aside. It usually takes less than an hour. Maybe those summer months might take a little bit longer because we do a few more transactions in the summer than we do in the winter. But basically, the auditors like to see this. It's another set of eyes looking at the books, doing a very random sampling, just making sure everything is on the up and up. So.
So what you need to do is try to visit with the finance officer and set a time that you could come in here some day and spend an hour or thereabout looking at, I don't care, March or whatever month is your assigned month or months. Each month takes about that hour, so whether you want to set up multiple, that's kind of that's a longer day.
December's ready. When is December? I won't have that statement until January.
Okay.
So, how about reminders and updates? City council meeting December 19th. City office will be closed December 23rd through the 26th for Christmas holiday. City office will be closed January 2nd for New Year's holiday. Any hiring necessary for the community center right now that we know of?
No one got back to me on that one, so I think not right now.
Is there a need for an executive session tonight? Is there a need for adjournment?
I will motion to adjourn the council.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. City council, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Adjourn at 7:06 PM. Thank you very much.